have some people like Zohran Mamdani who are moving forward on covering, children's childcare and helping families, real family values. And then you have like the far right and MAGA and Republicans who are hell-bent on finding the fraud in...
I am here with a person who doesn't want to make money for some reason, Francesca Fiorentini, who is the host of the Bituation podcast on YouTube. And she also has a Substack, which she just forgets each time she comes out. She goes, "Oh,
Come on. I do not forget.
Substack."
I tend to my Substack, frannyfio.substack.com. Thank you so much. I tend to it. What are you talking about? I am allergic to money a little bit, but
we're all allergic to money, but what that means, you should actually give money to the people who are allergic to money and are terrible capitalists like Francesca. So you have to support her on YouTube. She's on Bituation Room. It's also on Apple and the podcast. And yes, this time she has evolved. She actually remembers her own Substack because last time she had forgotten. So you have to subscribe to her Substack. Anyone who watches this, I'll say it again. Just press subscribe to her Substack right now. And she was my former co-host of America Unhinged, where we tracked the first 100 days of Donald Trump's administration. And we predicted, if I may, Francesca, it's the world's worst, I told you so. We predicted pretty much where it would go. I am shocked because you should be shocked by horror. I'm not surprised. We interviewed Zohran Mamdani, if you recall, when he was a distant number 2. And we said that we believe he has a good chance. And Francesca, can you just remind people where Zohran Mamdani is, that distant number 2 who we interviewed last year?
Oh, he's in Gracie. Is it Gracie Mansion? He's in, the seat of the mayorship. And today, my guy is out here just like the straight A math student he is, going over every single line item of the New York City budget, explaining that there is a deficit and that they need to basically ask for a wealth tax on an income wealth tax. And he's explaining it to you line by line. This is why what we need. This is how much money we generate for the state. This is how much money we get back from the state. So hello, Kathy Hochul. And sort of, putting the squeeze on her in the most sweetest little cheek dimpled way that Zohran can, which is, we need your help. Help us help you. He already said he would support Hochul in her reelection campaign. And now he wants to say, all right, now you got to help me in, making sure that we have enough money to fund the programs that we need to fund, whether it's new programs or whether it's existing things like libraries and, school systems that Mayor Eric Adams had no qualms in defunding. I remember it was like libraries were like, we were only operating on Thursdays, between 12 and 1 or whatever. And so he's really crushing it. So his the new thing is, look, we have to have a wealth tax. Otherwise, we're going to have to raise property taxes, because to do a wealth tax, he needs help of governor. To do a property tax increase, he could just do that on his own. But he's saying, I don't want to do that. Upper West Side, elites who are mad at me and think I'm a communist.
And who didn't leave, even though you threatened to leave after I won, but you are firmly still there.
Yeah, they're not
prestigious townhouses. Yes.
Yes, all the yoga bitches who were the Wall Street Journal had a great piece about how they were like, oh my God, where do we go? And the truth is nowhere. So I mean, you got to hand it to Zohran and Mayor Mamdani now, because he's also rolled out. And by the way, if you are in New York and you need to sign up for childcare, you can do that until February 21st for 2 and 3 year olds. So this is, pre-K, universal pre-K that he promised he would roll out. They are rolling it out, and it's not first come, first serve. So you can fill out your application and, get it. And it's crazy because, Waj, it's insane. Like, we are in this time where you have some people like Zohran Mamdani who are moving forward on covering, children's childcare and helping families, real family values. And then you have like the far right and MAGA and Republicans who are hell bent on finding the fraud in the childcare and daycare centers.
Yep.
And they are absolutely dead set on it, which is so sinister and disgusting for a million reasons because these are literal childcare providers. But it's also like, buddy, the fraud is the fucking people in the White House, my guy.
Well, that's fine. That's okay. That's to save America and make the rich richer. What you said about Mamdani, about the fact that he's taken on the oligarchy, the fact that he's actually, wait for it, explaining what he's doing and why he's trying to do it. He's connecting the dots. He's giving people options. He's saying, okay, we could do it this way or that way. And he's using his privileged platform as mayor to pressure the Democrats to do the right thing. Interesting. You said that, Francesca. Yesterday, the New York Times came out with, I think, I mentioned this in the conversation I had with Danielle and Jen, what I thought was a very revealing opinion piece. But the opinion piece was actually a focus group. It was 13 Democratic voters on Trump, ICE, and their frustrations with the Democratic Party. Again, these are 13 Democratic voters, okay? A nice cross section: white, black, Latina, male, female, younger, older. We'll talk about what they said, but I want to specifically about Mamdani. This is the question. Has anybody seen anything from a Democrat, any candidate or public figure or someone locally that's made you say, oh yeah, we need more of this. This is more of what we should be doing. Here's Mike, a white from uh,
Not a white.
a white male, 33 from North Carolina. So he's not a flaming leftist, communist, Marxist, Muslim, socialist like Francesca and me, who are not real Americans. Francesca is in LA. I was born and raised in the Bay Area. This is Mike, a white 33 from North Carolina. I want to quote him. Zohran Mamdani, clear, concise messaging. It's exactly what everybody wants. It helps everybody. It's the perfect messaging because it's clear and concise. Unlike Democrats, just like Bernie. Bernie said the same thing since the 80s. You got to tax the billionaires. You got to tax the upper class. He's really never changed. That's the messaging. You just got to drill it into them. And Zohran did it. Man, it's beautiful. Your response.
I can't. I love Mike, who, wherever you are, you're just a little scribble, a little like art illustration. But I mean, this is what Democrats found the time to fight in 2016 and 2020 was Bernie Sanders' message of affordability, of the 1% versus the 99%, of this incredible income inequality that was endangering our democracy and all of our lives. And they found time to say, you keep on droning on. It's the same thing, blah, 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 because Bernie was smart. Bernie knew that if you listened to him even once, if you heard anything he had to say, it wouldn't be some mealy-mouthed, long-winded, well, we should probably at some point think about rolling out a... it wasn't locked in policy.
You
It
mean
was
talking like Hakeem Jeffries, like a AI bot, chat GPT answer where he goes
just
around and
AI
rolls
Wuthering
down and
Heights. Like,
doesn't say anything? Sorry, continue.
yeah, I mean, exactly. It was very direct. It was like, this is about taxing the billionaires and the millionaires, and it's about the 1% versus all of us. And he said it over and over and over and over. And yeah, did it get old? Sure. But when people would, people are fucking busy. I'm sorry. The reality is that people are overworked, underpaid. They have kids. They are struggling to get by. They're struggling to find childcare. And so sorry, they're not as, deeply involved in the day-to-day politics as some of these pundits and these wonks. And so it actually really is incredible when you do have a message that cuts through the noise, cuts through the crap, cuts through, again, just sort of the like nibbling around the edges reforms. People want real fucking vision. And again, here we are. I mean, love Mike. I love when the New York Times does this because they're not talking to like you or I, as you said. They're just talking to random ass people. And Waj, you could keep going because people have so much smoke for the Democrats right now. They are so mad.
We're going to share it, folks. So in this piece, right? Like, and just a quick comment on what Bernie said, right? I think Bernie's strength was he's been consistent. His weakness was he was consistent. He kind of just delivered it like blunt force trauma. And then I think Elizabeth Warren, 2020, kind of had some layers to it. And I think what Zohran did is he added personality to it, right? But it's the same basic message, right? 1%, versus the 99%, right? The Epstein class versus the rest of us. Corporate money is screwing us. It's honestly, folks, you give credit where credit's due. He's been on top of it for a while. He
Yeah.
says this is, and then Zeron brought in race and class and charm and charisma, and it's just a refining of that idea. Same thing with AOC. But this group, folks, this is what I want to ask you with. All right, I'm just quoting. They asked them, fill in the blank for me. I'm feeling blank about the way things are going these days, right? Frustrated, confused, upset, discouraged, strong, concerned, terrified, angry. Okay. Anything positive? None. All right. Then they said, fine. How about the Democrats? In one word or less, can you explain what it's like to describe the Democratic Party? What words would you pick? Mike, spineless. Jill, white, 47, Maryland, more complacent. Michael, white, Oregon, paralyzed. Denise, Latina, Georgia, afraid. Panth, Asian, Arizona, incompetent. Kai, Washington, white, suffocated. Terrell, black man, 68, Indiana, sold out. Other words you want to use? Sure. Sellouts and suckers. Christian, Michigan, immobilized. Denise, Latina from Georgia.
Hey,
Can I see no
we
balls?
got it. We got an
No balls.
immobilized. That's pretty good. Hey, I feel like Schumer's looking at the immobilized, going like, that's pretty favorable.
Francesca, they went to all of the people. That's what they said. Not a single person said bold, fighting, strong, visionary.
Yep.
Your response to what you just heard.
Inspiring. I mean, this is so beautiful. And also what we've been saying, I mean, it's not beautiful. The fact that the opposition party, that the Democratic Party, number one, doesn't even know they're an opposition party is terrifying. That's why I think people are legitimately terrified. I think that, and I do think we need to really marinate in how different this term around is from the first term, precisely because of the capture of the media, number one, but also the capture of this resistance. I think that when the Democrats, and I will say, lost the election, it takes two to tango, man. One side wins and the other side loses. And honestly, I am someone who in 2024, you and I were looking at it going, what in the fuck is the Trump administration doing? They made no efforts
None.
to try to appeal to any kind of moderates, the middle, any reforms, any I'm going to be different. There was nothing. They were all in on white nationalism and on being dumb. I mean, it was like Trump was like, just basically like every single speech he gave was one of his billionaires, handwritten policy planks. Like, we're going to do privatized cities. And you're like, well, okay, who wants that? It was literally for nobody. And he still won. And I'm sorry, but that's squarely on the Democratic nominee and the president. It was at the time. It's so easy. And feel me, I get into this rut too. Oh, just the voters, and we just got to blame the voters. And if only we could blame the voters more. I'm sorry, man. 90 million people stayed home. Like, is that the number? Like
18 million Democratic voters stayed home from the previous election. They just didn't show up, folks.
And I'm just like, look, you can shame and browbeat them all you want. But the reality is, if you don't have a message that is cutting through, that gets people excited, you ain't going to win. I mean, look at the way Zoran was able to do it. It was so clear. Freeze the rent, free buses, free childcare. End of story, really. And then I'm not going to fall backwards over saying that Israel has a right to exist in the current genocidal state that it's in.
And speaking of which, we've talked on text a little bit back and forth. You were very kind, send nice comments, and overwhelmingly people send really nice comments about my exchange with Hakeem Jeffries. And like I said to everyone else, honestly, Francesca, it was not a gotcha. I thought I gave him a meatball on a plate served hot, and I knew he'd say, I knew he wouldn't embrace a Bosch ice, but I thought, much like Mamdani, he would explain the position, explain what he stands for. He instead got upset at me. I wish he would have gone that much more upset on Republicans, but he got upset at me. He didn't really explain the position. And then I want you to just see that in this op-ed that they did the focus group of, right? Pretty much, guess what? A lot of these folks, they're talking about ICE. They're talking about immigration reform. They're talking about how they're horrified by ICE, how they're worried about their immigrant communities, how they're worried about their neighbors, right? You've seen the data. 47% of Americans say they want to abolish ICE, a plurality. 60 to 65% say they're against it. And this is without Democratic messaging and leadership, Francesca, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to your response to what you saw and heard from Hakeem to my question, I just want to get your reaction to that.
Um, you could tell, number 1, amazing job, and also number 2, you could tell he doesn't ever get asked hard questions. Because you know what you had? It wasn't just a mainstream news outlet sort of, layup that was a little bit critical, but something that he could talk his way out of and no one would push back. You had I think there was some real um, anger, if I'm going to be honest. And I think righteous and rightful anger and well placed anger, asking him about, APAC money, asking him about ICE and the fact that people want to abolish this agency, not, and he said, use whatever language you want. All right. Well, do you want to say defund ICE? Do you want to say end ICE? Do you want to say
Anything.
obliterate
Tell me
ICE?
something.
Give me another word for it. But I'm saying ICE no longer should exist. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And, ICE doesn't have a right to exist, if you will. And I think the first thing I noticed was how pissed he got. I think because he's just not used to hearing from real people. And then the second thing I noticed that I thought was really upsetting was the way and I think he does this a lot, he claims to represent his constituents who are mostly Black Americans by sort of, deflecting from these issues of ICE or deflecting around the issues of APAC and saying, when I go back to
That's
my
right.
community is, and so you get a heavy dose of empty identity politics which is such a presumption that number 1, Black people don't care that our money is going to Israel instead of, their communities. Or number 2, that Black people don't care that, our neighbors are being abducted and disappeared. My mind immediately goes to the Chicago residential building where Black Hawk helicopters from ICE descended down and people were in the middle of the
Oh,
night
yeah. Oh, yeah.
and people were terrorized. And there were a lot of Black residents in that building. I mean, is coming for everybody. I mean, don't get it twisted. Like 6 years ago, we're talking about BLM as if you think that ICE and BLM are like worlds apart. No, what we are suffering through is the failure of the Democratic Party actually to listen to Black Americans, to say, stop over policing us, stop incarcerating us, stop funneling us into the prison system versus giving us real opportunities or real job guarantees or real housing guarantees or the things, I mean, hell, heaven forbid we have an honest conversation about reparations. So everything we're seeing is the failure to demilitarize not just the police, but these federal law enforcement agencies like ICE. So that shit really does not sit well with me. And I think a lot of people, when we hear you weaponize, your Black constituents against other people of color.
I'm glad you picked it up because that's what he did. And furthermore, if I may, because I love this focus group because it just
Yes, it's
because we
more.
rarely get wins, Francesca. We are seen as, and I said this, but I want to. Well, before I get into that, I'm going to read you a quote from a member from the focus group, right? Before I give you their identity. The question was, are there any positions or attributes where you think this is a deal breaker for me when I'm looking at a different Democratic candidate? Like, this is the kind of Democrat I need. If there's a primary, this would be the issue that'd be a deal breaker for me. Quote,
Mm, mm.
I would say support for ICE. I know that some of the Democratic senators and representatives who actually voted to fund this bill got called out. He's talking about the 7 centrist Democrats like Henry Cuellar and others.
Yep.
You want to try to be a little bit more moderate, sometimes and not say defund, but that doesn't go over well. But the problem is where we're at today is with ICE. This is completely out of control. If you aren't willing to just speak up and say, no, I'm not supporting extra funding to this, there's just so much more we could be doing what we're funding with billions. Christian, 33, Democrat, Michigan, Black male.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It's affecting everybody. And now we're here on this like, well, you can only wear masks on, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And,
Mardi
we
Gras Tuesday, Mardi Gras Wednesdays.
yeah, just a few, I mean, no, people want this. And this is the problem because Hakeem Jeffries is on this, resign Christine Ohm. And last time we talked, Waj, I was of the belief that it's really much more fun to make fun of Kristi Noem, and so I would rather her not go anywhere. Because whoever replaces her will simply continue the exact same policies. I mean, honestly, if I were personally Kristi Noem, I would absolutely want to resign. Why? Because you're the head of not just DHS and ICE and all these enforcement agencies, but fucking FEMA,
That's
which you
right.
defunded. And I would want to get out before hurricane season, before some other, natural but preventable disaster comes, and it, is once again on your shoulders. Of course, honestly, Republicans don't take any of that seriously, but it's just a matter of time before all of this comes collapsing. It's interesting because watch, there's some been changes. Trisha McLaughlin, her deputy, was
That's right.
forced to resign today or yesterday. That was good, I guess. I mean, her husband was apparently getting contracts to, what was it?
200 million? Was it 200 million?
Yes, but to basically work with ICE either on tracking or on, detention. I can't remember what side of it he was on. So
Like
that was
self-dealing, yeah, literally self-dealing, absolutely corrupt. The
self
husband's getting
dealing.
money from the government to do work for DHS and ICE.
Yeah, but also Howard Lutnick's son is getting money from these warehouse deals, by the way, there's these massive warehouse deals to open new detention centers. They're working with a real estate company that Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary's son, is in charge of. Like the investment group that he's in charge of owns this realtor company. It's called Newark or something like this. And, there's dealing everywhere, watch. So to me, I think it's more of a well, we've got to roll one of the heads at DHS. I forgot where I was headed with all of
No,
this,
no,
but
you're talking about Kristi Noem, right? Well, if you were Kristi Noem, you would leave, especially as it seems like Kristi Noem is, folks, we've been talking about it for a while here on the left because the DOJ threw her under the bus also when a couple of months ago in November, if you recall, they said someone said, "Oh, it wasn't us. It was Kristi Noem who actually didn't respond to Judge Brosberg's request to turn around the plane of the 239 men. It was Kristi Noem who defied that order, not me." So when I heard that in November, I'm like, "Oh shit, they're setting her up for the fall person." And then
yeah,
especially with Preddy and Renee Nicole Good and this, clearly they're setting up for the fall person. But she's still like, "I'm gonna sit here and be cosplay Barbie, and I'm gonna
I'm
go ahead and
gonna
do it."
use a 747 to fly around the world with Corey Lewandowski, my lover. Um,
My
because
assistant.
my assistant slash lover. But anyway, the point is that I do think it's beyond Kristi Noem. I think she should resign, but I think it's such weak sauce to say that that's where the buck stops because it's about the policy and it's what the Democrats have always done on the border. If you are so upset at what ICE is doing, stop funding them. Stop giving them incredible amounts of impunity too, baked in to their very system. Revisit about Customs and Border Patrol operating effectively constitution-free zones within 30 miles of the border. We should revisit that. That's absolutely insane. And no freedom-loving American should ever stand by that kind of policy.
But that would
Um,
require them standing for something. That would require them to actually have a platform. That would require them for actually having policy. That would require them to stay away from their corporate centrist Democrats, from the military industrial complex, from the private prisons, and actually listen to their base. And what they're doing instead, Francesca, is, and I'm glad Jen brought this up because I always bring this up, but Jen said they instead don't even listen to their base. They don't even respect their base. I've said this for a long time. I'll give you an example. Ken Martin, the head of the DNC,
yeah,
promised the audit of the election that you were talking about, the election that they lost. And what that audit would have shown, in my opinion, Francesca, because I look at all the other data, the number one reason why people stayed home, according to the YouGov poll, not the only reason, the number one reason Democrats stayed home, Gaza. We kept saying, even for 2 years, we've been saying, this is not just an Arab issue. It's not a Palestinian issue. It's not a Muslim issue. This is a universal issue that has radicalized people all around the world. This is a Gaza generation. Your base will not stand for you literally funding an ongoing genocide. Then we said, Francesca, the bar is so low that the bar is in hell. Okay, can you just have a Palestinian speaker speak with the Jewish mom, Rose Goldberg Poland? Remember what they told us, Francesca? Shut up. Shut your mouth, right? And specifically, what happened is they went out of their way. I could tell you from my own communities. I'm talking about Muslim communities, Arab communities, right? I've talked to people. When these surrogates were sent out in these swing states, literally these people are like, hey, this is a really important issue. They kicked them out of meetings, Francesca. And what they basically said, and I think this was the mindset that they're going with right now. It's either us or Trump, idiot. You're not going to vote for Trump. You're going to vote for us. And right now with the special elections that they're winning, they're like, oh, we don't have to release the audit, Francesca. They're going to vote for us anyway. We're still winning. We don't have to take any bold positions on ICE, on the billionaires.
Yep.
We could take the James Carville approach of playing possum. F you. We won't release the audit because the audit will show that our base is really pissed off on us for making love to Liz Cheney, saying F you to the Palestinians and embracing the oligarch. Yours.
Yes, exactly. No, that's why, when that person who was interviewed by the New York Times says Democrats are immobilized, Chuck Schumer takes that as a compliment because that is quite literally his strategy is to do nothing and then expect to win in landslides. And that's absolute horseshit, in my opinion. You actually have to fight for something. You have to put your money where your mouth is or not take the money. I mean, I think this is why, for example, candidate Tallarico is doing, really well is because he's on Colbert, they get censored and he's like, I'm not taking corporate PAC money. And he's very proud of it, And so I think that is a huge feather in his cap and many other candidates' caps, in addition to not, calling what happened in Gaza a genocide. And just more broadly than only Gaza, because the Palestinian liberation and the Palestine issue is massive. It's not going away, guys. This week, the Knesset basically decided, okay, we're just going to annex the West Bank. We're just going to be like, okay, we're gonna take it over officially, completely illegal, and they're deciding to do that. So it goes on, and I think it's more. It's about foreign policy. Democrats still, sadly, have yet to pick up the mantle of a real peace party. A real party that leads by not thumping their chests, that stops funding the military year over year over year to absurd tunes while people cannot make ends meet in this country. It is absolutely preposterous. We do not need the size of the military, the size of this budget, and we have so much militarism in this country. We fund it so much that, of course, we don't know what to do with it. So what does it do? Comes back on us in the form of police and in the form of ICE and CBP. So I think that's really important to understand that and look, the other thing I saw someone say, look, these polls really show, and I'm on the social media, so I see a lot of this. You talk poorly of Gavin Newsom, or you have a criticism of Jasmine Crockett, and people are like, rah, they want to kill you. They hate you. How dare you, And you're like, but no, I'm just asking questions. And shouldn't we actually ask more from our leaders? I think for Gavin Newsom especially, right? And this just shows that the blue MAGA, the very blue no matter who,
yeah, blue and on.
Folks,
I call blue and on.
The blue and on folks, the people who really want to blame voters versus blame candidates for not actually inspiring those voters, they're wrong. They are actually a minority. Now, they're usually a loud minority because some of them are very well off. I've had, private conversations. I remember with a certain celebrity I won't name, but right about a year ago when the student protests were happening around Palestine, who is like, don't they realize that, Trump would be worse? Don't they realize that Trump will be worse? And you're like, my guy, these are kids who are seeing whole families physically torn apart.
Right.
And they're doing what they can. These are heroes of our generation. And all you can say is, don't you know Trump will be worse? We're talking in like the spring. It was like the spring.
Or why are you hurting Dems? And what we said, we are helping Dems.
Yes.
I always said, I am trying to help you. You cannot ignore this. Your base will not forget this. For the love of God, do something. And we tried, first and foremost, end the genocide, because the United States of America, without the United States of America's support, military support, diplomatic support, Israel not suicidal. It wouldn't do it. What we now know, what we always suspected, is that Joe Biden actually gave Netanyahu a green light. There was no red line. And this was ideological for Biden. He was able to be agile. We try to be fair, Francesca. He was agile on certain issues. He said, I'm effed up on the crime bill. That was wrong. that led so many black and brown and poor people to prison for decades on mandatory minimum. The economy, he actually had a bold progressive agenda. Who killed it? Not the progressives.
Nope.
Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, right? But on this, he was just ideologically blind, like much of the Democratic establishment, right? And now you're seeing great setup. For the second question I asked Hakeem, I wanted to ask you this. And then Washington Post just did a piece on this right now. APAC. After all of this, Francesca, after APAC spent a record amount of money to take out Cory Bush, after they spent a record amount of money to take out Jamal Bowman through these anodyne sounding names, but it's all APAC funded.
Yes.
After they just spent $2.3 million in a friggin' cell phone that hurt Tom Malinowski, who was supposed to win, and instead, chef's kiss, brought out the most pro-Palestinian abolish ICE progressive Latina Representative Annalila Mejia in the New Jersey 11th District as a candidate to hopefully win Mikey Sherrill's seat. I asked Hakeem Jeffries, hey, maybe we Democrats should not support AIPAC that actively hurts Democrats. And do you still take money from AIPAC? And his response was, I'll take money from who I continue taking money from. Francesca, that was Friday, 2026. Like, how? When you're
No,
basically everything else.
and you've got Schumer out there in these dinners that he, knows is being recorded
Oh, yeah.
saying,
The
I will
lunch
give
in February.
AIPAC all the money they want, all the money they deserve. Guys, this is why there is no difference. And so stop. If you were okay with criticizing Sinema and Manchin, and you're okay with criticizing Schumer and Jeffries, I hate to break it to you, but there are a lot more of those people who we should be criticizing. So, understand, nobody wants to tear down the party. We want to remake it. We
That's
want to
right.
make sure that it wins. This is not, first of all, let me just say, even if this were purely about the moral issue of the Gaza genocide, even if, I would still stand on that. I would still stand on it, on business.
Morals, ethics, values, correct. Absolutely, 100%.
It doesn't matter because we have to not shy away from things that are politically unpopular but are morally right. That's what real leadership looks like. But number two, we were seeing in real time, Waj, and I'm someone who is, as a young anti-war organizer, was speaking about Palestine 20 years ago. So the fact that I saw in the span of months, the greatest opinion poll shift on Gaza that did not happen this year, it happened the previous 2 years under this genocide was wild. But they didn't even want to pay attention to that polling. They didn't even answer text messages to the Kamala Harris campaign that addressed it. They were blinders on, la, 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 I cannot hear you. And so politically, it was advantageous. And I've heard it was the greatest act of political malfeasance to not address Palestinians, Arab Americans, Muslim Americans, and this issue, this bleeding issue. And so, yeah, I could.
But Francesca, just to your point,
Yeah.
the bar was so low. I just want to remind people, as what you're saying, the bar became so low, folks, because people always, and I'm sure you still hear this, but it's a little less now. These Palestinians, these pro-Palestinian activists, they're hurting the Dems. These people were at the DNC openly saying, we are Dems. We want to help Kamala Harris. We are using the little leverage that we have just to get a Palestinian speaker to speak at the DNC.
Yep.
I just want to remind people, Francesca, that's how low the bar was.
Yes, who was going to be ultimately cheering her on. It would have been the easiest thing to do. And so, I still see some folks out there who are like, it's because you couldn't vote for Kamala. It's because you couldn't vote for Kamala. Well, I'm someone who was out there telling my audience to vote for Kamala. But I'm sorry, I can't go to, door to door. I'm going to be honest. Kamala's campaign did not inspire me to go door to door or make calls for her fucking agenda. I'm sorry. Because meanwhile, and I think that, speaking of Mike, 33 years old, white guy from, I forgot where, there's North Carolina, Panth, who's from Arizona, Asian. He was like, because the interviewer was like, does everyone agree with Mike about, having someone like Zoran just kind of speak directly to the issues? Mike is like, yeah, the Democratic Party needs to embrace the voices that resonate with people. When you hear Bernie, he has energy because he really believes what he's saying. It's the same reason Trump resonates with the people too, because he acknowledges some of the struggles they're facing. Sure, he blames the wrong groups, but at least he voices it. The Democratic Party doesn't do the same. In 2024, they were saying the economy's fine, but for a lot of people, it was. But there were a lot of people who were seeing their prices go up and they were struggling. The stock market doing well didn't mean anything. I don't agree with everything Bernie says or everything Mamdani says, but they're similar to Trump in that if they come into the office, I know they're going to do something. It may not be what you want, but you will see action being taken. And the
That's right.
Democrats are not like that by and large. And that is why, and I just want to name every time someone would compare Bernie and Trump on the Democratic side, whether it was, someone on MSNBC or someone on CNN or someone online, it would always be negative. Well, yeah, well, Bernie's just like Trump. I mean, Bernie's like, his like bombastic ways and his clear thinking and his commitment and his belief in what he's saying. That's so Trumpian. As if, number one, as if Trump doesn't actually have, let's be real, some redeeming qualities as a fucking candidate. Look at the guy. He won 2 elections after trying to steal one. I mean, come on, right? He's got redeeming qualities, which is he is a committed racist. He is a committed oligarch's butler, right? He is a committed pedophile, allegedly. But so this is what was so insidious about that line of attack, Waj, is that every time people would be like, Bernie's kind of like Trump, it was always negative. It was always like, he's just saying the same things. He's just an extremist in the left direction. And it's like, maybe that's good. And also, there's nothing extreme about universal health care.
But you touched upon it because, folks, we try to keep the receipts because this has been happening 10 years.
I
They
know.
The Democrats still haven't evolved. It's been a decade. It's like feels like 40 years of my life. I could have been writing books and plays and screenplays, but I digress. Francesca could have been doing comedy specials instead of comedy
Yes,
shows,
that's
right?
why. No,
Yeah,
it's true. No, I'm not even joking. Like Trump really did fuck my entire career.
yeah.
Like utterly. We've wasted so much time with this man.
Yes, so much of our time, our thoughts, our energy. And in 2016, the people who voted for Trump said, you know what? I like Bernie. In 2020, the same people who voted for Trump still said, I like Bernie. In 2024, Francesca, remember the people who voted for Trump also voted for AOC to the point where AOC went on Instagram, said, I want to hear
Yes.
from y'all. Like, how could you have voted for me and Donald Trump? Zoran Mamdani, the same people voted for Donald Trump, voted for Mamdani. What's the through line for the past 10 years? They think the system's not working for them. The
Yep.
institutions are corrupt. It's broken. They want someone who's willing to promise radical change. Donald Trump, it was all BS because he is the establishment. He is the swamp. But what did he say, Francesca? I'm going to come in and I'm going to be a bulldozer. I'm an outsider. I know these people. They're all corrupt. I play golf with them. You need an outsider to drain the swamp. All BS,
Right.
but that's what he ran on.
Yep.
I'll give a credit to Donald Trump and Republicans. It's the only time I give them credit. When they get power, Francesca, they don't give an F about moderates, Democrats. They say, F you, loser, you cuck. You're all gay. We're going to show you how gay you are. We're going to pass our billionaire bill. We're going to friggin' take over Venezuela. We're going to friggin' get rid of DI. What are you going to do about it? You P word, right? They don't care. They flex. And so when in that same poll, and when you compare how are Democrats, spineless, weak, timid, right? But check this out. I've never seen, and I said this, I've been saying this the last couple of days. I'm sure you've noticed it as well. It's what they did with Bernie and what they do with you and me and Danielle and others. Democrats do this. Abolish ICE. That's just the leftists.
Mm-hmm.
Taxing billionaires is just the far left. Francesca, I've never, ever heard any Republican, regardless of where they're on the spectrum, ever reject in the past 5 years MAGA. I've never heard them reject being right wing. I've never heard them reject being conservative. Never once. When it comes to Democrats, they use leftist and progressive as a pejorative to mock and ridicule us. Now I want to share with everyone, when they asked these 13 folks, including this white Mike, I love you, Mike, a candidate who identifies as progressive or a candidate who identifies as a moderate, who would you prefer? Every single respondent, this is remarkable, said a progressive candidate. for moderate candidate, nobody raised their hand, Francesca.
I mean, but let's just talk semantics. Literal, just semantics. You know your brand is absolutely effed when people don't even want to say liberal anymore. Okay? Liberal is synonymous with neoliberal, even though conservatives and Republicans are also neoliberals, right? Liberal is synonymous with empty identity politics that don't actually transform anything, that cannot even protect Roe v. Wade, that, oversee mass incarceration, that oversee the 3 strikes and you're out rules, that oversee welfare reform, that oversee, NAFTA. Like, liberal is a dirty word, and Democrats destroyed their own branding. So of course people are going to say progressive, and more candidates, just because it's a better word and it plays better, say they're progressive even when they're actually not. I mean, we're going to see progressive, we're already seeing it, kind of sour and stale. It's going to be more like, no man, I'm a democratic socialist like Zoran and Bernie. Like, I'm a democratic socialist, or, I don't believe in progressive is starting to also become meaningless. But imagine how poor your movement has to be that you slowly abandon whether it's moderate, whether it's liberal, even Democrat has got a terrible, again, we have to remember the Democrats' approval rating is worse than Trump's.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How? And you out here, and these people are out here being like, no, you must swear fealty to Gavin Newsom. How dare you not say that you would vote for him over JD Vance? It's like, I don't fucking know, man. I'm
Oh,
assuming
yeah, you're talking
Gavin.
about Hassan, right? Hassan Piker really lit a match under the Democrats and terrified them because he went on IHIP, folks, I think a couple of days ago. He went on IHIP, and Jen was on with us just last hour. And he went on with Jen and Angie, and he straight up said, yeah, if it's between Gavin right now and a third party, I'm not committed to Gavin until I see what he's about. And Democrats were pissed. And can I share with you? I don't know if I shared this with you. I did not share this with you. I'm going to share with you. I won't mention the name. I'll text you who sent this to me afterwards.
Okay.
A leading Democrat, an influential Democratic voice whisper, who is in D.C. and was part of the Biden administration. I'll leave it at that. Not an elected official. We found out on February 15th, I'm sure you saw that Axios article, that Pelosi's new campaign, Nancy Pelosi, and this is also my excuse for Francesca to eventually do an amazing Nancy Pelosi impression. Nancy Pelosi is
Yeah.
boosting Newsom for 2028. I quote tweeted that and said, well, I'll do everything to counter that. A hall monitor comes in to
Oh
my
boy.
Twitter
Of
DMs
course.
and says, hi, friend. I'm genuinely asking what's happening here. Like, you don't need to like Gavin, but why hate on Gavin? And like, I like him and love Pritzker, so I'm not in his camp or something, but a primary where we kill each other doesn't seem great. I responded. I'm going to just do cliff notes. In another post, I was more clear. I said, if he doesn't change his mind, I'm not going to vote for him. He has time. But thrice he has shown his colors. Number one, he said billionaires are part of his Big Ten in November. Number two, he agreed with Ben Shapiro that Israel isn't committing a genocide. Number three, he agreed with Ben Shapiro about ICE not engaging in terror. Number four, he platforms all the worst right-wing bigots, rarely anyone progressive. He won't get it done this way. He will peak. He will lose. This person responds, he's done podcasts with whole varieties of people. He platforms tons of progressives. Are we condemning George Soros these days? Because last time I checked, he's a billionaire. He does not agree with Shapiro that ICE is not engaging in terror. He said not all ICE agents are terrorists. No one has to vote for someone they don't like, but just seems like we should give everyone the grace to announce first. And I will do absolutely that for anyone running.
No,
On the left.
bullshit. No. Absolute bullshit. You know why? Because you don't get the grace to run. In my opinion, when I become the world's or the United States' first female dictator, I'm going to institute that you do not get to run for higher office until you've actually completed what you promised on your campaign. You don't get to stay in office forever, but you get your 8 years, your 4 years, your 2, whatever it is, and then, the people can vote you out. But like, you cannot run for president when you said you were going to pass a Medicare for all plan in California. You ran on that. You ran on it twice. You defended right wingers trying to unseat you and recall you, and sort of were like, come on, California, you can't leave me hanging. This state went to Bernie twice. Come on now, like this is bullshit, right? Like there is no way that you're coming in here with some Newsom shit. We're not responsible for Newsom, okay? He made his way up through the fucking royalty channels that exist here in California state politics, and he is where he is because of that. But we don't like him. We don't claim him. And so, no, if I've seen what you have not done and what you have done, like personally stripping homeless encampments and tents
Yep.
down with your bare hands like a psychopath, single-handedly vetoing harm reduction policies to offer clean needle exchanges and harm reduction sites for safe needle injection sites. Why? Because you want to run for president and you're too chicken shit to stand by a harm reduction strategy that saves lives. This motherfucker, I'm sorry, he vetoed that. His whole state assembly voted for it. All right. And he vetoed it. So, like, I'm sorry. Oh, give me the grace. Oh, because of the oldest thing in the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi says we should. I mean, it really is like it's Gavin Newsom's time, you know? So, no, miss me with all that. I am going to, in 1 hour, head out to the Wiltern Theater here in Los Angeles, because guess who is campaigning for a tax on billionaires here in California that Gavin Newsom is against? Bernie Sanders. So
Right.
this is the crossroads that the Democratic Party is at. Taxing the 1%, taxing billionaires, or working with them. Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Of course you can turn us all into AI data centers. You know, you can just shove a fucking whatever the hell, like a what IPU up my butt. You know what I'm saying? I'll start mining Ethereum.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how
Ethernet
to do it.
cables will just be data mined. Our internal organs will be data mined, and it will be Soylent Green for our AI data centers
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
they
Like,
deplete our water and our energy and our resources.
well, you got to work with the billionaires, Wad. You should give them at least one of your organs. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the hellscape that people like Gavin Newsom are walking us into. So, no,
No,
we
I'm
do.
with you. I'm
Yeah.
completely with you, and I know I get a lot of heat and people get really upset at me, but I'm from California. I saw the entire ascent of his career. He was the speaker at my UC Davis Law School graduation. Um, no, listen to Californians, folks, and see why they're pushing him. See who's pushing him, and listen to him. When he was given a softball 2 months ago, will you tax billionaires? He said they're part of the big tent, not my tent. We just announced today that Meta announced that they're openly spending $65 million in the upcoming elections. Joe Lonsdale, the co-founder of Palantir, has a group of AI pro AI psychopaths. They've already spent $100 million. They're backing Democrats. They're playing both sides of the aisle. Sherry Bustos, the ex DCC chair and representative, her lobbyists include OpenAI and friggin' Oracle. She's now started a new group for deregulation for Democrats. They're collecting money to run ads. What more do you need to see? Do you think that these people will fight for you when they're
No.
unwilling to take on Elon Musk, even criticize? Why doesn't he criticize Elon Musk and Palantir and Oracle? Because he's gone money from them, folks.
Yes. And sorry, by the way, Bernie didn't win in 2016 in California, but he came within, I mean,
A hair.
46 to 53%, when it was like nothing but a shoe-in for Clinton, right? So all to say, California is very poorly represented, similar to New York, poorly represented. But to your point, I think, the billionaires see the writing on the wall, man. They know they've made the income equality what it is today. They know they've extracted all they can from workers. They know they're getting their way with pretty much every Supreme
Yep.
Court decision. And now they have, again, the best friends, literal best friends of oligarchs,
Yep.
Donald Trump, in office. And they realize, hey, this is the side of the, aisle that my bread is buttered in. Why would I even mess with Democrats? Democrats want to do things like put Lena Khan in there to minimally make me responsible for my antitrust practices and my monopoly. No thanks. I don't want to do any of that. I want to get what's mine, figure out how to get to fucking Mars. And like, I've always been the belief, just go. Just
Yeah,
go already.
please go.
Please go. Please. You can take all the sex robots you want, all right? They'll all be there. It'll be amazing. You can reenact Epstein Island on Mars. I give you
Can I get invited
permission.
to the party? Can I get invited to the party, please? I heard it's wild. Let me invite me to the party.
Ooh, it's like our mission's a little full right now, Elon. But
You
like
tried twice,
definitely
Francesca,
next
and
time.
Epstein was like, "Nah, no." It was like when we were young and we really want to get invited to the cool person's party. They're like,
My
it's next week."
favorite It was Elon has this history of getting rejected from like I mean, again, this is a consensual place, but there was like some nightclub in Germany called Berghain, which was like very like sexy BDSM, blah blah blah. And the bouncer was like, took one look at him and was like, "No Riz, I don't care how much money you have. No, like you're not
I'll,
cool
I'll
enough to
take
get
you
in.
to Mars with me. Just get me in there. He goes, "No, I'm good. I'm good." He goes,
Let me jump for you."
"I'll give you a Tesla." They're like, "No, I'm good. I got a Hyundai.
Wait,
I
I
got a
kind of
Hyundai."
like your Elon.
It's like a petulant child. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and I will say about Nancy Pelosi, folks. I want to remind. Look, going back full circle, ending with the
What
dirty.
about me?
Yeah,
Watch, watch, watch. Would you hot? If there's something you have to say, I hope your dentures are not as dry as mine when you say them.
I love Francesca's Nancy. The best Nancy Pelosi impression in the
Stop it
business.
now. Stop it now. Stop it now. The worst part about dancing with the skunk is getting tinkle all over you, or whatever the fuck. Hey, the craziest part about a haystack is Sunday, you're the needle. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
She, God bless Nancy Pelosi for what she did in the past. But I want to remind everyone, Nancy Pelosi, while she was on her hospital bed last year, whipped up votes for Jerry Conley against AOC. Jerry Conley is dead. Nancy Pelosi also gave us Henry Cuellar.
Quayar.
Henry Cuellar, who was pardoned, his wife was pardoned for taking foreign bribes, and then Democrats welcomed him back, and whose legacy, as of the last, I don't know, 2 years, is being anti abortion, being one of the 7 Democrats who voted to fund ICE after they murdered Renee Good, and for voting for the SAVE Act, which is for voter suppression.
Which is
And now,
going through right now. I mean,
yeah,
I really feel, you and Danielle were talking a bit ago. Everyone should watch that conversation about, having hope and maybe the change not happening in your lifetime. And I will die if I die before I see change. That's how much I feel that we need change in the next, not 10 years, 5, baby,
good.
because they're sealing us in. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That we're in the casket and they're drilling.
Like, hey,
I'm
I'm still
alive.
alive.
I'm still alive. Like, they are trying to button this all up for the 1%, for the crazies. They are trying to make sure that we are squeezed, and they're doing that specifically through voter suppression. I
Right.
had David Daly on my show a couple weeks ago talking about the gerrymandering is out of this world. As much as you might laud Gavin Newsom for what he did, it was the most minimum thing that he could do. And
Right.
it is good, but it is a drop in the bucket. They are rigging so many new districts. We're going to wait to see what happens in Florida, whether they're going to move even more voters into Republican counties. But on top of that, the Supreme Court is taking up effectively what is the gutting of the entire Voting Rights Act. Remember, I believe it was Section 6 was already gutted, or a lot of it was already gutted. Now they're going for the whole enchilada. That could be coming down, in like the next month. And that would mean effectively no more Democrats from the South. Just straight up. These black majority or nearly black majority counties gone. Their
Georgia,
representatives
North Carolina, gone, gone.
obliterated. So, like, if the time for uprising is any time, and it is the Lunar New Year, so this is when we are officially beginning our year, because January was so much hell, we can put that in 2025. This is the year, people. This is the year we have to take the streets. We have to write our letters. We have to do what we can. We have to organize with our communities. We have to get involved locally, because, again, they're endgame playing. Bannon said it. If we lose the midterms, we're all going to jail,
Yep.
or some of us are. And it's like, Yes, babe. They know. They know the window is closing and you love Star Wars. It's this. And we are running, running, running. So
Trump has said it, Musk said it in 2024. They know what they've done. They know that accountability is coming. They know the Epstein files are out there. They know that they overreached on immigration. They know about the corrupt deals, Witkoff, Kushner, crypto. And that's why, and to your point, this little data point that I love from 2 months ago is it was only reported by the Reuters, Francesca. Trump administration has threatened the ICC with sanctions unless they promise not to hold any of the Trump members accountable if they lose in 2028.
I mean,
What more?
what is what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. No, no. I look, and what Francesca, the reason why we're saying this, folks, and we're being bold, yeah, 10 months. This is it. This is
Yeah.
it. This is the moment. It's not yesterday. It's not inshallah. Right now, for the next 10 months, you have primary season. He's getting
Yes.
more desperate. He's getting older. He's sinking in the ratings. He's telling you openly, shit, we're going to lose the House. They realize it. Oh, we might lose the Senate. They're playing for all the marbles. The SAVE Act, raiding the FBI, raiding the Fulton County with
Georgia.
FBI and Tulsi Gabbard, openly threatening to have ICE surround poll stations, going after mail-in voting. He is telling you, talking about the Insurrection Act, folks, he is not leaving peacefully. He's not leaving legally. This is the same man who incited an insurrection. And we cannot have these timid Democrats. And all the people say, you're being mean to the Democrats. Waj. I say we deserve better.
Yeah.
Fight for something better. Why just have a poop sandwich? I don't want a poop sandwich. I
No,
don't
but
want poop
it's not just
gravies.
a
I don't
poop
want poop
sandwich.
appetizers.
It's this poop sandwich that's going to lose. I mean, you're seeing the same narrative play out in the Graham Plattner versus Janet Mills discussion, in Maine. It's like, I'm sorry, but Plattner's polling better. I'm sorry, but Plattner's polling with independents better. I'm sorry that Janet Mills is the anointed Chuck Schumer, candidate. But Chuck Schumer's name means nothing nowadays. And like, I know that I like that Janet Mills said what she did around trans athletes. That's
Yeah.
great. But like, you gotta, when you say we need to get someone in who can win, it has to cut both ways. Meaning you have to open your mind and your vision to people who are polling really well, who might be, white guys who say things are genocide and who want economic populism. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there has to be also that cold water acknowledgement that maybe, and look, I'm not in Maine. I think Maine voters have to decide for themselves, but it's like it can't just be exactly the way you want it to be. And
Not my, I'm with you. Not my guy, but Maine will decide. And if you say vote blue, no matter who, what Plattner shows you is they want someone unorthodox, someone young, someone outside the system, someone willing to buck the system. There you
totally,
go.
yep.
Imperfect candidate, and people still don't care. What is that? Trump, folks. What does that show you? And even going back full circle and bringing a fine button to it, do you want to go with the older candidate or the younger candidate? 12 of the 13 said younger candidate. The oldest man, Terrell, who's 68, said, experience, I'll go with the older candidate. Check this out. Do you prefer the candidate with experience or someone who's completely new? Split down the middle. And voila, I give you Graham Plattner.
The last thing I want to say is that, this Jesse Jackson just passed. And if we can learn from Jesse Jackson's legacy, it is that number one, running bold outsider candidacies that focus on a multiracial working class agenda is what works. It always
Red
has.
Coalition from the 80s.
What does Jesse Jackson do? Look, Jesse Jackson wasn't about to glaze Reagan, who was raining down anything from austerity to the war on drugs on the Black community, right? He's not going to be out here. And I'm sorry to say, but people like Obama, Clinton, other Democrats who say, oh, Reagan was so good. No, he wasn't.
Terrible.
Reagan was a scourge on this country. Okay, we are still living with the ramifications of the Reagan administration when we should have been surging forward when it came to civil rights, when it came to social programs in the 80s. We went backwards. We tumbled backwards. Jesse Jackson, being the committed organizer he was, formed coalitions, picked himself up, ran for president twice, won 7 primaries in 84, won 13 primaries and caucuses in 88. And guess what happened? At the DNC, when it was clear it was going to be Dukakis, but Jesse Jackson was the guy. He was clearly number 2. Did they break bread? Did they make peace? Did they extend an olive branch and say, you know what? With this guy, we could win. Dukakis, Jackson, let's go. No. They went with a conservative Democrat from Texas named Lloyd Benson, who was a millionaire, who they thought would get them the Texas Democratic voters. They lost Texas by 700,000 votes, and they lost every state in the South. So look no further than the legacy of Jesse Jackson to say how and why the Democrats should take more chances, should listen to the people, should know a star when they see a star, and put all of their eggs in that basket.
Grassroots, multicultural coalition. He coined it in 84 and 88. The Rainbow Coalition won millions of votes, mainstream. In the irony of ironies, Dukakis got undone by one of the most racist ad campaigns we have ever seen.
Yes.
The Willie Horton ad campaign that was so racist that even Roger Stone said, yeah, I don't want to be attached to that one.
God.
Will we ever learn? I don't know. But you know what, folks? This is the moment. This is the time. Perfect timing. My iftar is opening up in 35 minutes. I only have 4% left on the computer. But Francesca, shamelessly promote yourself.
Follow me on Substack, frannyfio.substack.com. I stream Tuesdays and sometimes Thursdays now. I'm calling them Candidate Corner on Thursdays. So Kat Abu Ghazaleh will be on with me tomorrow.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yes, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Twitch, and Substack. We will stream live. Support me and watch my show, my most recent deep dive. I've been doing long form videos, which means I'm broke. No, long form videos. My last one is all about Polymarket and Kalshi and like what we should know about them.
Awesome. I'm so glad you did that.
Yes, and how sports betting is coming for everything and all of the ties with the Trump administration, what Trump's current head of the CFTC is doing to undo all of the regulations that were put in place before. It's bad. It's bad. But anyway, watch it.
And the fact, what do you think is going to happen, folks, if gambling is so encouraged, organized, legalized, and in bed with NBA superstars?
Yeah.
You're going to get more scandals. And the fact that it's completely unregulated, folks. Now you got Giannis and LeBron. They're friggin' betting on like the worst, most unethical things, and they think it's great while they're still playing the sport. And look at the Super Bowl ratings. I was talking about the commercials. Excuse me. What were the commercials, folks? AI, crypto, gambling, weight loss.
Yep. What a beautiful future. No, it's trash, guys. Don't stop selling us trash. Well, yeah, that's the last thing is, dude, everyone's insider trading on these things. This week, the Israeli military, the IDF soldiers are insider trading on Polymarket on where the strikes will be next. I mean, like, and the Israeli military was like, that's a bridge too far. Like, when something is too unethical for the Israeli military, you know we've reached rock bottom. So
when the Israeli military is like, yo, come on now.
Hang on.
That's, and also tell them where you'll be performing.
Oh my God, yeah, thank you. We're doing a live Bituation Room here in Los Angeles with Emma Vigeland of The Majority Report,
Great.
Van Lathan Jr. of Higher Learning Podcast, and comedian Ida Rodriguez. So the 4 of us, it's going to be so good. We're going to platform some local politicians and candidates too. So Dynasty Typewriter, March 22nd, 3:30 p.m.
Yeah. Folks, go there, and this is the Left Hook. There's no paywalls. I'm always trying to get Francesca to come on, but she's so busy. So hopefully she'll come on more regularly, and then we'll get her on Substack. Become a paid subscriber to her Substack. She's independent, folks. She wears all these hats, and she's a mama. So, folks, thank you all for watching. It's the Left Hook. There's 1,200 people watching. This is great. This will be up later on our Substack tonight. Let me just open my fast, and then then I'll write it up. If you can, become a paid subscriber. If you can't, it's okay, folks. Just at least subscribe. Give the money to Francesca. And if you have $3.75 left over, I have an amazing special that I've kept going. It's lefthook.substack.com/special. $3.75 a month. Thank you all for watching.
Can I read you the funniest Ramadan tweet ever?
Yes.
Okay, Ramadan Mubarak, by the way. And this is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson tweeting, Hamas will never win over the righteous keepers of the West. Up yours, scum. and he quote tweeted Elmo, tweeting, Ramadan Mubarak, everybody. Elmo loves you.
Oh, he's such a loser. He's such a loser.
Ramadan
What a
Mubarak.
freak. What a freak. I needed that. Thank you, Francesca. Uh, is it on
Elmo.
right now? I'm gonna go tweet it. So
Elmo.
good.
No, it's an old
Uh,
one. It's an oldie but goodie.
so good. Eat some more vegetables, Jordan. Eat
Eat
vegetables.
veggies, please.
Eat veggies, bro. Thank you all for watching. Take care of yourself. Be kind. And please, oh, please don't be a fascist. Thanks, Francesca.
Thank you.